Hey guys, let's turn on the lights. There we go. It's Jay. Welcome to the blog. It's going to be a short one this week. I wanted to do a video tonight, even though it's now like 9:40, and I really do need to go home and go to bed because I have the show in the morning. But I just did the Chamber of Commerce Excellence in Business Awards, and I did these last year as well. In fact, it was one of the events. I talked about this when I hit the 100 pounds lost mark. I did a video where I put on a suit, and it was a suit that I had worn for hosting this show last year. And it was really one of those moments where I realized that, I wasn't the way I always was. I'd always known I was big, but I really, doing the show last year, having to buy a suit online, having to spend more than almost $1,000 on it, not because it was nice, but just because it was impossible to find anyone in Atlantic Canada who was able to get me what I needed. So anyway, that show's over with for this year. I did it wearing a sport coat that is 10 sizes smaller. I did it with a waist on my dress pants that is 10 sizes smaller, almost 12 now than it was last year. But more importantly, I did that whole show as me. I wasn't tired. I didn't become a sweaty mess. I wasn't standing off the wings of the stage leaning on anything I could because I couldn't hold my own weight up. These were all things I went through last year. Last year I basically took a panic attack before, going into Membertou to do the actual show. So I've been looking forward to this event this year, not only because it's such an honor to be asked to be a part of it and to be there for these local business leaders who are getting recognized for incredible work that they do all year round. And many of them are friends of mine. It's been remarkable to watch some of them grow, an idea into a business. And as someone who in a past life, back before I got into radio, was an entrepreneur and ran my own business for 4 years, I know how incredibly difficult it is. So I'm honored to be a part of congratulating them and honoring them each year at this event. And really, this is one of the victories. I talk a lot about how it's not always the scale. And the more I go on and the more I lose. I'm down 190 pounds now. I'm 10 pounds away from 200 lost. And the further I get into this, the more those victories change. So for me, even the thrill that I used to get out of buying clothes that were, a better size, all of that is going away. And it's becoming harder and harder for me to find victories that have that major impact that I was having every 2 weeks before, right? And that's part of just sustaining this and making it a part of your regular life as opposed to like some special thing you did for a while. The way that I live now is a routine and a lifestyle that I have built and that I plan on sustaining. Part of that is understanding that those victories stretch out. They become harder to find, and they become harder to achieve. My rate of loss is a lot more quote-unquote normal, now than it was. There is a process one goes through, and I was probably in it about a month and a half ago, probably about 6 weeks ago, where I was working out harder than I had worked out all along. And I just was not seeing the same level of results. I was still seeing fantastic results. I would never complain in the real world about losing 2 pounds a week. But when you had 4 or 5 months where you had just become conditioned and used to expecting to lose 4 or 5, 7 and 8 on a good week, you have to readjust where your success line is. So really, when I lose 2 pounds in a week, what the hell do I have to be sad about? That is a victory. That's a major victory. But it's not the kind of victory. It doesn't give you that high that you were getting off of losing 6 and 7 and 8 pounds a week. That's obviously not sustainable. This is. So I'm much happier with this, but you don't always get that immediate momentum you get from the greater losses. So what I want to say tonight, and the reason I'm bringing all of this up and doing it tied to this event, is that the victories that matter the most are the ones that are the most likely to just blend into your everyday life. What I did tonight, for me, isn't anything special. the event is special, but like the skills that it uses, I've been doing for years. Getting on stage, making people laugh, trying to make the time pass. I can do that stuff in my sleep because I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of these over the years. But there is a victory to be had in tonight, because this is the first time that I can remember in a very long time, at the very least since I started working at the Eagle, that I have done an event like this, and I haven't had to, and this sounds horrible, but I didn't have to go into character. It's no surprise, probably, that in my business, there's a lot of times you end up taking on events, and they seem like wonderful ideas. For a guy who gets up at 4:30 in the morning, there aren't a lot of events at 7 and 8 o'clock at night that I'm, jumping to do. So often you get to them, and you're happy to be a part of them, but you're just tired. You're beaten. Your day is beyond done. You should be in bed. And in order to get through those moments, what I have done for years is you treat it like it's a show. You put on a character. You become the funny, high-energy guy who's just going to get it by. And while that may have worked for everybody else, I never really felt that it worked for me. I think I did good shows. I think it's capable of doing a good product and getting through it like that. There are people in my business who do their whole on-air part of their career like that. But that's not me. I mean, there's an authenticity in what I do, in that I'm not a good enough actor to get away being anything than what I am. I don't do well when you give me someone else's lines or anything like that. Like, I'm me, and the minute that stops being marketable, I'm probably not going to be in this business. So to get on stage tonight and not have to feel like I had to act in any way, to know that whole thing was me, on the surface, that has absolutely nothing to do with the weight loss. But standing up there, I knew it had everything to do with that. All the changes I've made in the last year have been toward this goal, to make me more me every day. And so I went on that stage tonight 14 hours after I started my workday, 16 hours almost after I had gotten up for the day. And I did that whole thing with energy as myself, knowing that I was giving it my all and that I was me the entire time. Not saying it was a good show. You'd have to ask someone who was there. But I know that as the guy who was doing it, I know that I brought tonight the best in me. And that I know that the me of a year ago wasn't able to say that. And that I haven't been able to say that in an incredibly long time. So tonight is a major victory, and a huge thanks to everyone who was a part of it, and a huge thanks to my friends at the Sydney Area Chamber of Commerce for inviting me back again this year. We'll see you next year. See you guys next Friday.